this is I'm just sorry I'm caught looking at myself. This is an A+ haircut that I got today. Just so you know, like this is, I mean, I've had some bad haircuts the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, but everything's back in. It's like pre-summer Jufro. It's
sometimes
looking
I
good.
forget you have hair because like you do a lot of these with the snapback hat, like hats.
I do a lot of these with the snapback.
Yeah.
But occasionally like I let it go. So I'm looking good. And with that, you know who else is looking good? All three of us. This is Dad's Bet Baseball. Got myself, Adam Rosenberg, with Slippin' Jimmy, and we got a guest, Dan Lifshatz, because we originally were going to have him here to talk about his primary team, but now his primary team is very much linked to my team. So we are going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We will be talking about Red Sox. We will be talking about Phillies. Fellas, first of all, Dan is in very seasonable warmth because the last time we talked to him, he had boxes around him in Boston, and now he is in South Carolina, and he is just loving life. He is pre-retired. He is retired. He is good. He is just over it. You don't even have like your workstation kind of thing set up. You're just doing this from your porch.
Yeah, dude. Literally, I have like probably like maybe 25% of my shit unpacked. I like haven't decided to like unpack anything because we've just been like outside every day hanging out. I mean, I'm working, but outside, I'm pretty much outside every day. It's 75 to 80 degrees every single day. I've walked like 6 to 7 miles almost every single day. I've been here sitting on the grass. It's let me tell you, it's fucking amazing. I'm never ever moving back. If you live in the north, you're a fucking moron. Sorry, Berg. I get this. The difference of life is just unreal. Like I have my fucking super expensive fucking grill on my porch. I grill every day. I go outside. I hang out. There's a bunch of people here. I see fucking gators out my back window, which is super fun. And my kids love it here and fucking outside every day. It's fucking awesome, dude. I love being here.
Maybe that's why Alex Cora was like, you know what? Actually, I think I would like to leave Boston. Please leave me in my duties.
Yeah, well, so
I could just go hang out in Puerto Rico.
Let's kind of jump right in. So there are times when managers get fired. So Alex Cora, who has been rumored to be fired about as long almost it feels like as Aaron Boone for the last year and a half. And they not only did they get rid of him off a 17-1 victory in the beginning of a 3-game winning streak, but they cleaned house. So what I want is first from you. I want this was Sunday morning this happened because Sunday or Saturday.
Saturday. No, it happened Saturday. They were out at dinner. They were all out at dinner when they found out. Yeah.
So, okay. What's the emergency pod reaction, Dan, that your initial statement on this?
So my initial thought was, well, fuck. There's a power struggle that, I mean, I almost said High and Bloom because they're basically the same guy.
I know. Right? Yeah. It's all the same family. Yeah.
Yeah, that Craig Breslow has basically won with the Boston Red Sox. People will say, well, no. That's not exactly what's going on. No, that's what's going on here. I mean, he's basically won the power struggle and basically won the power in the organization. They've sided with the general manager for better or for worse at this point. And honestly, it's concerning, man. I mean, look, I was a pretty big Breslow fan coming into the offseason. I liked some of the minor moves that he had made. I was kind of a fan of some of the things that he was doing. And then they said, hey, we're gonna sign some bats. We're gonna do some things. We talked about it on the podcast. And they sat on their fucking hands and did nothing. Ranger Suarez was their big addition, through signing. I mean, Contreras was a nice deal and whatever, but for the most part, they didn't do anything. And so we have another guy here who once again says he's going to do something, doesn't do it, and ends up fucking just ruining the roster. I'm not sitting here saying I love Alex Cora or I think Alex Cora is, amazing. I do think he's a great manager, but even though his time may have kind of run a little stale in Boston, but I sit here and say, this is the same shit we keep doing over and over and over with this team. And it starts at the top, and it starts with the fucking bone. What I don't even want to say what I really want to say, but just the asshole who runs the team at the top and he just makes the worst decisions financially, personnel-wise. And here we go yet again with another general manager that, is kind of a yes man at this point, or kind of scared to, kind of take off the wheels and do some shit. And meanwhile, the same guy who they just backed is the one who basically just, gave out all the extensions to these, to all these guys, and they just let them go. So I kind of break this down and say, we're once again, the Red Sox are doing the same thing they've always done. They're going to screw this up. They're going to side with the wrong individual or the wrong person in this scenario, which again, John Henry's choice, whatever. But the reality is, once again, the Red Sox have decided to side with the wrong person in this. And again, I'm not the Cora guy. I'm not rah, go Cora.
Right.
Again, if you're asking me who it is, like, this is obviously the wrong decision. Once again, and I'm not a big Alex Cora guy. I want to make that clear. Like, I don't love some of the things that Cora's done. I don't like the way he's approaching the young players. But for the love of God,
I thought he managed a terrible series against the Yankees in the playoffs. I thought like it was one of the worst managed series that I've ever seen in terms, especially on how the pitching was done. Which is, by the way, interesting because Bailey's the one who they kept. But like, to your point, I mean, Alex Cora's been with this team since what, 18? And then they fired him and they still brought him back.
Yep.
And like, so that was like, they suspended him essentially for a year. They brought him back. But that's the thing for me. I was just like, I mean, he wasn't a Breslow guy, but why do this? Like, is this, like, why do that now? Like, is this it because of like this, is this like this team's window? Because like all these guys are like there's young guys on this team. It's not as if they got Pete Alonso and it's like they pulled that one off and it's like, oh, this is our now window. Sonny Gray is the only real old pitcher on that team. Like they are stacked. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but I mean, does this team think it's like, I didn't even think they were that out of it. CJ did, but like, I didn't think that they were doing that badly.
I mean, they weren't doing well. I think they're probably a little bit worse than what you thought and probably a little bit better than what I thought. I was a bit in panic mode, but the reality is that like they just once again like they just I think Cora's remarks about the young players, I think it was either Friday night, it could have been either Thursday or Friday night. Basically what he said was, well, basically we have to teach these guys how to play, and it kind of sounded like he really didn't want to be in that role of being the managerial guy who kind of teaches the young players. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to deal with the older veteran group. And look, I understand that from both perspectives. I understand that from being annoyed from a front office in an ownership perspective, being like, well, what the fuck, dude? This is the roster, sack up and deal with it. We paid you. I also understand that from the same perspective as Cora, being like, well, dude, like I wanted Bregman here. You guys played and fucked around with it for 3 months in the offseason.
Forever.
I was just about to bring that up, Dan.
Yeah, and now he's in Chicago.
Like, to me,
and
this is all on Breslow. Like as far as the roster construction, like wasn't the Bregman thing the fact that they wouldn't give him a no trade clause? Like that was like one of the big holdups, and that's one of the reasons Bregman didn't sign.
That was one of that. So that was definitely one of the things. They also originally only wanted to offer him 3 years, and then they didn't believe. And again, I've heard from a whole bunch of people on this. They didn't believe he had the offer that he had from Chicago, which is really funny because it wasn't just exactly. It's that bad, Berg. It's you'd be stunned. They didn't believe he had the offer, and he's like, guys, I have the offer. Call Chicago. It's funny. He had an offer from Arizona that was also better, and he didn't believe that either. So for a while, he thought he was going to end up in Arizona, and they didn't believe that either. They just didn't believe him at all, that there was anyone else who was willing to pay him within the vicinity that they were, and they just didn't believe him. And by the time they believed him, it was a, well, are you go fuck yourself time, kind of thing where they were just, no, at this point, absolutely not. Like, we're not signing with you guys. You guys didn't do enough. And of course, the Red Sox and Sam Kennedy had to go up there and spin it and say, well, if Alex Bregman wanted to be here, he would be here. No, this was not a Bregman thing. This was the Red Sox once again cheapening out. And I'll go back to last offseason, guys, when Cora wanted Bregman at the start of the offseason. They talked about the start of the offseason. And Devers said, if they had approached me at the start of the offseason, I would have been amenable to move to first base. So this whole thing goes back to Rafi Devers. That's what it goes back to. And I know Devers has been ass in San Francisco, but there's a huge difference between what's going on in San Francisco and what was going on here. He was sitting mildly well here. He wasn't, performing at an elite level, but he was still their best.
He was good. We took him for RBI leader because he had equal stats at the end of the year between Boston and San Francisco. He was great.
And again, that month that they traded him, he was their best hitter. Again, that month they just swept the Yankees or whatever it was. I mean, they were playing at a very high level. And again, if they had just signed Bregman early on in the offseason, I think Devers moves to first or takes DH or whatever, and everything is fine. But again, they cheaped out. They waited and waited and waited and waited. They didn't sign anyone. The fans got mad. Cora got mad and said, dude, this is fucking obvious. My guy's out there. Go get him. And of course, that pissed off Devers. And if they just hadn't waited and had signed Bregman in the first place, like everyone thought, that would have been normal. It probably would have been a 4-year deal, and we wouldn't have been in the situation that once again we are now. They probably would have had both Alex Bregman and Rafi Devers on this roster, but now the general manager and the front office have fucked up twice. They fucked up last offseason by not signing Bregman early and also giving him an opt-out, which of course he took. And then they screwed up again by not believing in this offseason. So how could anyone in ownership actually side with the front office in the situation is beyond me, and just goes back to the ineptitude of ownership with John Henry and those idiots who run the team, who have got to be and again, Robert Kraft runs the Patriots, okay?
Yeah.
And for whatever you want to say about Robert Kraft, he's a terrible fucking owner. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He fucking sucks.
We talk about this all the time. Like, people are like, oh, wow, Josh McDaniels back. No, you know why Josh McDaniels is there? Is because Kraft doesn't have to pay him, because Mark Davis still has to pay him for another 2 years.
100%. And guess what? And he's Kraft's boy, so he's going to do
Kraft's boy, yeah.
He's going to give information.
He's about to possibly be a head coach for free, too.
That's not what discussion for another day.
But anyway, but no, to keep out, like,
but yeah, I mean, the reality is that, again, it all starts with ownership. Ownership fucking blows. They haven't been the same since 2018. They want to be the Tampa Bay Rays of of the 2010s, and like not spend any money, but win all these games and develop and trade. I mean, it's a disaster. He sucks. I mean, it's an ownership issue. If he would just fucking sell the team, everything would be better off. But that's never going to happen because they make too much goddamn money from the random fans who come to Fenway for the experience, and the traveling fans, whatever. So it's never going to happen, no matter what. But I won't go to a game anymore. Not that I can, because it's not 20 minutes down the road anymore. But still, and and again, so you just chose the guy who I think personally fucked up multiple off seasons in a row. There's multiple reports of basically the entire league just really doesn't like working with him. He's kind of robotic. He tries to, for a better, better or worse term, trade rape everyone around the league. And the only guy who seems to be able to make a deal with when he's not dumping contracts is, his former boy, Chaim Bloom, is in fucking St. Louis. Like, I mean, that's it. There's literally, they're basically, it's the Cardinals and the Brewers keep fucking bending him over the table and spanking the booty over and over, whether it was last year or now, obviously, and now this year with Kyle Harrison, who just had 12, 11 strikes.
Oh, yeah. I thought that as soon as they pushed him over there, I said the Brewers are going to unlock this dude. I want to talk about player development a bit, but like, CJ, you look like you got something you wanted to add on this one. Yeah.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I mean, I'm glad you brought up Bloom, because I just also learned this week, Dan, that Bloom actually still has a house in Boston. Like, his kids still go to school in Boston. And so he and Breslow actually see each other at like kids soccer games and like kids baseball games, like all the time.
Little league. They were talking
like Little League. So it's not any surprise at all that the main moves that Breslow decides to make this offseason were with Bloom, because like these guys are best friends. So that was both moves, which, by the way, I think we both liked. Like, I liked Sonny Gray coming to kind of solidify the rotation. Contreras has been probably the best hitter. Him and Abreu have been the best two hitters so far this season. The weird thing is, like, for me, on what happened in the offseason that you kind of already hinted at, is they miss out on Bregman. Then they make this pivot. Breslow kind of tries to make this pivot, and the front office does that. Well, we're gonna go for pitching and defense. Like, we're gonna go sign Ranger Suarez. Like, we're gonna become this defensive team. Meanwhile, something you also called out on our preview series, they have like 5 guys trying to go for the same position in the outfield, in Duran and Abreu and Yoshida, which they still really have no idea what they're going to do with. So the roster, there's so many pieces that individually, I think there was things to like coming into the season. I think that's one of the reasons why Berg and I were definitely higher on them, and especially the upside with like Anthony and Meyer and, whatever happens eventually with Campbell. But really, when you kind of look back at it and from like a 300-foot view, the construction really just didn't make a lot of sense, like, for what they wanted to do. And they were banking a lot more on Bregman coming back than they were ever willing to admit. And now I kind of think that this move from Breslow is just them. I think it's just him realizing, like, I'm on a time clock here and I've got to do something, or else I'm going to go the same way that Bloom, the same way that Cherry went, the same way that Dombrowski went. Like, ownership is not giving them the power. Like, on one hand, I'm saying they're kind of giving them too much power. On the other hand, I'm saying he kind of sees like that this is his time is about to expire. So this is what he basically had to pitch ownership, and they let him do it. So,
I mean, the roster construction is hilarious when you think about how poor how the corner infields have like been awful. But the thing that I noticed is there a player like other than Rafi Devers that bat wise they seem to have been that seems to have translated and developed when they've gotten there? Because I'm not saying Roman Anthony's a bust. Obviously William Abreu looks great. But the thing is what I have noticed is that when the pitchers like the pitcher, I don't know if this is like a Breslow thing or whatever it is, when the pitchers are coming up, they are dealing, and that is fine. But there are a ton of young guys that are just like not taking these massive steps forward as fast as they should. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, like why Roman Anthony has struggled out of the gate. I'm not worried about it because I think he's just too good of a player for this to be like the thing. But it just doesn't feel like non-pitching players are getting that kind of support that is allowing. I mean, Christian Campbell is fucking in the minor leagues now and is like barely on the team. Like Marcelo Meyer is like has like the weirdest
another blunder.
Right. He has the weirdest deep line metric and not like a real position. Like, well, Campbell doesn't even have a position really. And it's just, but that's kind of the thing that I'm seeing is that, is like, I don't understand why they didn't just, why didn't you just give the team to Bailey? Like, I mean, he's kind of been doing like second best pitching coach in the majors, in my opinion, to Cotham. And I don't know. Like, I just don't know why that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up a couple of things there, and I think number one is the development of of just the hitting prospects. It's funny because that's really flipped. I mean, since 2010, you go back and take a look really until 2018, the Red Sox developed all sorts of bats, right? And the problem was they couldn't develop any pitchers. I mean, that's, and that was the big thing when they let John Lester walk. They're like, well, that was the one guy we fucking developed. And then they couldn't develop anyone and couldn't figure out what to do. So what they do, they panic sign David Price. Obviously, it like kind of works out, right? He wins the World Series. So like, then they trade a ton for Chris Sale. Like, it kind of works out, like, you know what I mean?
Very freaky, like weird injury, like punching walls and all sorts of things that, like, falling off a bike, like all sorts of things.
So, but like, so like it kind of worked, but again, they couldn't develop pitching. And then all of a sudden, Bloom comes in and it kind of shifts, and the organizational shift where all of a sudden they're developing pitching. And so since Bloom came in, and I will give Bloom credit for this, and I hated Chaim Bloom, hated him, but I'll give him credit for this. He was able to kind of identify and develop some of these pitchers. And I think the one thing that Breslow has done a good job is identifying the pitchers and continuing that trend. I think, again, you take a look at what they have right now. I mean, Connolly early looks great. Peyton Tolle, I know he didn't have a great start, second start, but his first start was unbelievable. It looked like
electric.
Yeah, we want to talk about Tolle time,
which is exactly what we had talked about in the prior episode. Berg was, this guy's going to be a stud. And again, they thought so too. So now you kind of, they almost basically did like an organizational flip where they can't develop any fucking hitters, but they'll develop pitchers and even some studs. But now you have a front office who just they can't find a way to take like a small loss in a trade in order to, make the roster fit a little bit better and gel a little bit better. And again, they're just run by this computer. And I know, again, it's a Breslow thing. And I think, again, it also comes down to the fact that you read the reports, and I've heard this from multiple people. He doesn't really have a lot of people who he trusts. He has a very small, circle.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. And that's never a good thing either. When you're getting the same few opinions over and over again, you kind of already know how you feel what everyone else thinks. And so that's always concerning when you have a million guys in the front office, but you're really only listening to 2 to 3. And I think the big issue to me was, well, Alex Cora, as a manager, struggled. I think at this point we can all acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I also would say, the bullpen stuff was a big issue. But where the fuck do you want him to go at this point? You take a look at the bullpen, like Zach Kelly has like a ridiculous ERA after the 7th inning, and the FIP and the XFIP are basically the same thing, right? He's not a reliable source. They didn't want to fucking, run out all the guys that they had early in the season. And of course, Slayton gets hurt like 6 games in the season. So he's gone. Like so I'm not going to blame Cora too much for the bullpen because he just didn't have that many options. And then he's starting veterans in spots that, like Trevor Story batting in the second. I think that's more of a FU to the front office than it is to the rest. So again, Cora kind of put himself in his own position. I'm not here to defend Alex Cora either because I thought Cora made a lot of mistakes. I didn't love the attitude. I get it. But isn't the natural progression here? Get rid of Breslow, move Cora up to a front office position where maybe he doesn't control the team, but has a large say in what things are happening, and then bring in someone below him where maybe Cora can help identify that guy. And all of a sudden you have a managerial guy who kind of has relationships with the players. You bring him to the front office, and you also have guys who are, you have all these people in the front office who have all the sort of experience the last couple of years and really haven't been able to utilize it because they've been left out from either Bloom or now Breslow, and they didn't utilize that either. Like, go outside the box for once, John Henry. You're a fucking billionaire, dude. You're smarter. You have so much fucking money. You're supposed to be smarter than me. How come it's, and again, I'm an idiot. So how come, I'm able to, somehow think outside the box compared to you and your square fucking billionaire ass? Like, I don't get it, dude. I just, the decisions this organization has made the past 5 years have been baffling, frustrating. And again, you kind of trace the spending, and the spending thing, of course, comes out when you're a Red Sox fan. The spending thing all comes back to Liverpool. The same thing is happening at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Since Klopp
got too old too quickly, and then they never created a base. And that team could have been, all they had to do was 3 years ago get younger, and they overachieved in a year when they shouldn't have. And now they're like way too old and terrible.
Wouldn't move on from Mo Salah at the right position, wouldn't move on from the right. I mean, they could have competed with City every single year, basically been, them and City every single year. But instead, they didn't want to spend the money. They didn't want to put in the base. They wanted to just fight, and so now Arsenal has kind of leapfrogged them and whatever, they're Arsenal. We don't need to get into that. But like, the reality is that now Liverpool is kind of cycling the toilet almost kind of where the Red Sox are. And it's not quite as bad, but it's still not good. And so, as a Red Sox fan, I sit here and I say the problem is ownership, but the ownership isn't going to change. That's not happening. So where do you go from here? And you need the number one decision, and the number one thing that needs to happen is Sam Kennedy. Someone needs to absolutely drag Sam Kennedy the fuck out of Fenway and literally throw him into North Korea and never let him come back to the United States. I don't want him to die. I just want him to never be involved with the Red Sox ever again and basically not be allowed back in the country, because I believe that Sam Kennedy has so much influence on the organizational directional pathways that basically the ownership is taking. And I think that this all starts with that asshole and that fucking idiot, Sam Kennedy. And he's the one who says, we should do this. And then Breslow, being a yes man, says, okay, and finds a way to do whatever they want to do. You're like, not offer Alex Bregman the contract they should make. Where did that start? Sam Kennedy. You go back and he's running around fucking Fenway being like, fuck Alex Bregman. We gave this fucking dude an offer. He should fucking take it. I mean, you should hear the reports that are coming out from the people I know over there who basically said Sam Kennedy's motherfucking Alex Bregman up and down the goddamn fucking, building. It's driving me shit insane, dude. It's, oh my God. I've lost my mind. I've lost it. It's over. I'm now like an unsustainable, mentally challenged high school girl when it comes to the Red Sox, because I don't know what to do anymore. There is no sustainability. There is no roster construction. There is no understanding of how to win anymore. It's just, we're going to throw money here, appease the fans, and we'll just hope and pray that, it kind of works out and and we figure it out from there. So I don't know what else I don't know what else to do at this point.
First of all,
gotta say we've had
this
some
was
good
like,
rants on the show,
yeah.
Dan. This one is right up there with Sean on the Baltimore Ravens.
This goes up. This is in the
on
Sean
John
Hardy
Harbaugh
Hall of Fame rants. It's like
this
Randy
year.
Quaid in Major League 2. Like, I'm expecting the next time that you come on that you have like a Red Sox hat with this like a big X on it, and just like the whole thing is just crossed off, and you're just like. You're there, and then like when they finish with 86 wins and then they win the wild card, they make the playoffs. You'll be back, and it's fine.
Oh yeah,
I mean, so before we move on to a break segment, let's talk about something good. Let's talk about Tolle time. All right, so we all talked about this. Wait, and as soon as Gray got hurt, all of us fired on Tolle 60-1. And he came out of the gate, and it was 45-1 by that, and he looked great. I still think that that has a future. I think I expected him to have a down game after that. I mean, he was incredible in that first game, and they didn't score otherwise, but he just mowed them down. Outdueled Cam Schlittler, which looked even better. In my opinion, and I didn't expect he wasn't also terrible today. It was clearly a down game after last week. Is that how live is that, and how dependent on the Red Sox? Can a 78 win Red Sox team produce a Peyton Tolle rookie of the year?
Well, now that Crochet is basically on the DLIL, whatever you want to call it now. I think it's super fucking live, dude. Like, I think that again, you're not sending him down now because now you've lost Gray, you lost Crochet. Bayo is pitching like Dan Lifshatz right now, which is, that's never.
That was terrible.
So I had the over today hits allowed to fade Bayo, and that did come through.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's an absolute easy fade in pretty much every aspect right now. Right, just go down the list.
He was the ace once for like a month.
Yeah, last year. And and so again, like another failed. Like we all talked about, and again, everyone talked about in Red Sox Nation. Like, and again, I'm not the biggest Carabas guy. We don't exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like I'll give credit to Carabas being like trade fucking Bayo, like fucking trade him, and like again, like. Just get how do you not trade Bayo in the offseason? Like, even if you get even if you don't fucking get the premium and the pinnacle of value, how do you not do that? So, but yeah, I mean, dude, Tolle's live now. Like, Tolle's absolutely live. His secondary stuff looks phenomenal. Now looks
nasty. His breaking pitches were so good, dude.
So good. I mean, again, the fastball obviously plays at a super high level. We've all known that, like, the fastball is going to play. It was always the development of the secondaries that. Can he develop an out pitch basically and become that elite strikeout guy? And what he looks like right now, which again is going to sound, I'm probably going to sound a little bit homerish here. He looks like to me what Crochet looked like coming into the major leagues a couple of years ago. That's what he reminds me of, where he's developing those secondaries. And actually, someone else kind of said this to me too a couple of days ago, and I said, okay, that kind of makes some sense. Is that when Chris Sale did the bullpen year with Chicago, if you go back, the fastball played, and he started to develop the secondaries at the major league level. Well, Tolle obviously did during the offseason. And it kind of does remind you something similar of that, where I don't think that they can take him out now. I mean, he's got to be a mainstay in your rotation for pretty much the rest of the year. And you got to.
I mean, he only threw 68 pitches yesterday too. They're they clearly that's a workload of you don't have your best stuff today, but we intend on having you pitch 120 innings.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point they have no choice, right? Especially losing Crochet, they have no choice. And again, I think they, I'm blanking on the kid that they got for Perales, Jake Bennett, and obviously he didn't pitch, for AAA because they were obviously worried about the Crochet stuff, and it turns out he's going to be up there. So now, I mean, you're going to have. We talked about the depth of this rotation on the original podcast. They now have the need for that depth, and it's going to be tested.
I mean, they're going to be leaning on Suarez and Tolle and early.
Tolle,
those are your top three.
Those are your top three.
Yeah, Tolle is arguably your best pitcher already, which I think after he's
a white mustached Chris Sanchez. That's what he is.
Yeah, I think he's
January 6th, Chris Sanchez. That's what we're going to call him.
Jesus Christ. I'm saying the fuck out of that one.
All right.
but I do like the comp. I do think that like legitimately he has the stuff to be like your ace sooner than later, and kind of almost be like, like I know like he's Nolan McLean has kind of come in and been like, the Mets like elite pitcher. Obviously, they went
sure. They just aren't going to have enough. They're not going to have enough wins. I don't know if they're going to have enough wins. Like,
well, that's the thing is, can the Red Sox score some runs for him? And I think if they can, this has a real chance of being live, because you look at the AL, and if Murakami ever stops hitting home runs, which who the hell knows, but if he ever stops, there's no one else who I really love in the Rookie of the Year race. Like Jensen has been, and he started to pick it up since
that team looks really bad, really bad. And now he's not going to have any protection with Vinny hurt too.
I was about to go over your top 5 right now. So Dan, you called. So Murakami is, and these are according to Caesars. These are only the ones that I can see that are live. So Murakami plus 150, McGonigal plus 180, DeLauder plus 225.
DeLauder hasn't had a hit in like weeks, which is hilarious.
Also, DeLauder is probably going to be on the IL at some point again. And then Parker Messick at 8-1, and Carter Jensen at 11-1.
Yeah,
Parker Messick has looked great. That's the only other I guess pitcher counter that I would put there. But
and I like Messick, but I believe that Messick is going to pitch at this level for the rest of the season. I honestly don't.
Well, I don't think Murakami is going to be getting 94 mile per hour stuff for the rest of the season too. That's the thing is his weakness coming in was, he can't hit anything that's above 97 miles per hour. Like, guess what? People are going to start throwing different gas coming in May and June. Like, I still think he's great. Like, Sammy P has that 100-1 to lead the league in home runs. And I absolutely think it, but this could easily be a 216, 50, 85 because no one's ever on base for the
type guy. I agree.
So no, I completely agree.
Yeah, but I would tend to agree that you're probably going to see some regression to the mean there. I think McGonigal is obviously legitimate. I think he's an elite prospect. I wonder if later in the year, especially maybe mid-season, we start seeing when the tape is on him, if he's not able to hit those breaking pitches as much as he is. Because again, the knock on him originally was, can he hit the breaking stuff, the off-speed stuff coming in? And if he can continue doing it, then I'll have to eat my words. But he would be the one guy I look at and say, okay, that's my concern. I love Jensen coming in. Jensen was my pick outside of Tolle, which we obviously took. Berg, we kind of all three of us, we're kind of on that. But I think Tolle's very live. I think Tolle has legitimate value right now. To be honest,
he just looks like he
scored 45 to
everything.
1.
Just looks like
still 45 to 1.
I mean, that's fucking ridiculous.
That's stupid. He was 20 to 1 preseason. It doesn't make any that makes no sense. Yeah, and now he has a better path. No, totally. All right.
45 to 1 is a horrendously bad number, especially with Crochet down now too. So that he's not going anywhere. So he's got it. And again, from all accounts, by the way, it sounds like it's the Hunter Brown injury, which is
not good because that's an abductor.
2 months, right?
Because you can't throw a pitch,
right?
It's the same problem if you have an oblique. It's you're not that's you can screws your swing and then screws up your gait, which is then going to lower your velo, which means he's going to have to come back. He's going to come back. He's not going to be 100%, and he's not going to be able to use his fastball. And what's going to happen, because this is what happened with Shota, because Shota had a ham and abductor injury, and Shota, he never has a good fastball, but he has what Crochet has, which is, an elite sweeper. And because he ended up losing vertical and other movement on his sweeper, and that's why people were hitting him after May. It stinks because he's not going to be 100% for the rest of the season, and that's a bummer. But I'm not a Crochet guy, so for me, it's just I'm kind of waiting for he's kind of felt like a guy who's kind of been overworked and not running his right, but we'll see. All right,
I would tend to agree with that. I've been a little bit worried, and again, I love Crochet. I am a Crochet guy. So we're up there.
It just feels too good to be true with him. It's very Cinderella with him. It's just this guy that just came out of nowhere that was never started before, and I'm just waiting. I'm when is this shoe dropping?
Well, that and so my concern is how many innings that he pitched, especially last year. It feels like they ramped him up a lot last year.
He had 230 innings last year.
Yeah, he's bound to not have the sustainability. possibility of that, and he's bound to get hurt. So obviously he gets hurt now. So now you see Peyton Tolle, and again, 45-1, I think is like horrendous.
45-1 is stupid.
Like horrendous.
All right.
That's the worst. That's the worst number. I haven't looked at the NL board. I don't need to look at it. That's by far the best bet on the board of either rookie of the year board.
I totally agree. And we've all been waiting for it. Okay. Gonna speaking of strikeouts, I'm gonna talk. We're gonna take a break. We're talking about our sponsor, Hall of Fame Bets, HOFapp.com. As I like to say, if you are watching this, it means you're probably under 30, and so you can use that QR code. If you are listening to this in your ear holes, you go to HOFapp.com. Use code DADS. You get 50% off your first month and 7-day free trial. We're going to show you real quick a market that I do love that I've been using with strikeouts has been the team strikeout filter. So I'm going to go to HandyGraphs first. So on HandyGraphs, I made a filter today that is the guys that I think go under their Ks. No surprise. Every single one of these, by the way, has gone under their Ks. Rock and roll. So I will go here and use this.
Humble brag.
Humble brag. I will go here. I will find a bunch of guys and I will look at the lineups and I'll just say like, all right, look, against like how are these teams doing against a lefty and like what's going on here. But one of the things that HOF has that nobody else has is in leaderboard. You go to batting and then you can go to team batting strikeouts, which is awesome because what you can do is you can see how many each of these teams have had. And a lot of the times you can find it out within matchups. So like tonight I took it was Skubal against J.R. Ritchie, who I also generally like, but was off a great start. And so I figured he wouldn't do as well. And also in HandyGraphs, I was like, well, the Rays aren't striking out a bunch, so I don't think Skubal is going to have 9. I took an under 16.5, but you're not going to be able to find places that are able to show you these like team markets. This is a market that's in DraftKings under game totals, and being able to go in, basically find, okay, so who are like go within a matchup. You can just say we can actually do this. I'll do it with the Detroit one, but yeah. So both of these teams, I can look at how many strikeouts that they've had. They've had less than 8.5 in, it looks like 8 of their last 10. And then if I go to like Atlanta here, Atlanta's being even better about this. So like Atlanta, their last only 6 out of their last 10, they've gone under this. So everything was projecting. I thought 16.5 was too high. I took it under that. But the reason why I'm loving this, both with HOF and also, using HandyGraphs, is just the fact that these are like anyone can tell you like, oh, here's a home run matchup. Here's this. They are elite on team markets, like being able to get in on like how many times is this team throwing strikeouts versus how many times is this team getting strikeouts. And you can look through all that stuff breaks out in here. Nobody else has this. It is awesome. Keep finding niche markets to hit and kill, because as we know with the double plays last year, we raked on them and they took them away, and that is going to happen. So the best betting advice I ever got in the world was find an edge, continue to bet it, over bet it until someone takes it away. Having access to data on team strikeouts is eventually going to go the way of the team stolen base prop. Go for it. Use it. Excellent use, in my opinion.
Team home runs. Team home runs.
Team home runs. They got rid of that too.
Yeah.
That was another one. But team strike again. So use code DADS, HOFapp.com. Team stolen bases was the one that they had on Steezers, and every time that Corbin Burns would start, I was just like hammering it because it was over 1.5. It was like, this is ridiculous. They decided in July of 2024 that they were done with that bullshit, and that it just had not happened anymore. Last year, again, like I said, we nuked the DP market. We couldn't get. I wanted to get a Brazzers sponsorship for it because I kept saying DP, but it did not happen.
Yeah, I'm happy that didn't happen for you.
The market only existed for like 2 hours. Market only existed for like 2 hours on opening day, and we crushed it. All right, so moving away from DPs and moving away from this, talk about a team that feels like they're in the wrong side of a DP. My Philadelphia Phillies, who fired Rob Thompson. Given the roster that he had, I don't think that the Phillies roster is bad, but like I was like, they did the guys who they re-signed, other than like they re-signed a lot of guys. They ran everything back. But the big thing, like getting to the punchline, is that who is their general manager? Their general manager is Dave Dombrowski, who is 2018 Red Sox. Well, I guess was his official role. Was he GM or was it officially? Yeah, so that. And who was his guy?
Baseball operations.
Yeah, his guy, Alex Cora. So those things immediately came out initially of, hey, is Alex Cora going to go? And that he declined. I get it. And I think that it is a matter of time. I think that he is, you kind of nailed it when you said like Alex Cora likes to have a lot of veterans on the team. Like he's not there. He doesn't want to babysit young guys. Because Phillies team has a couple rookies, but like they're not looking to like have a bunch of young guys and do a 2016 Cubs type of thing, or even like the this Red Sox team. So I don't think Cora's going to go anywhere this season. I think it's very weird to hire outside of, if you're going to fire your manager, to like bring in somebody outside. It's that if I was a player, that would be a really bad taste on just like how that's orchestrated. But I think that the last breath of Dombrowski this winter is going to be an Alex Cora deal.
I asked someone today because you and me both kind of thought the exact same thing, Berg. I was like, it might be sooner than you think. And you basically said offseason. I said, yeah, you're probably right about that, giving out Cora's going to get paid and whatever. And then of course they come out today and say, oh, it's Mattingly's team. Well, I heard someone today who told me that may not be the case. Let's see what happens, and let's see what the record is around July. Because if the Phillies are in the chase, and again, we have a while to go, right? If the Phillies are in the chase and they, kind of rebound a little bit, and maybe Dombrowski makes some additions, but the team is not performing the expectations, but they're still in the chase, you may see Alex Cora around July, end of July, pop his head over the Phillies. And I think that makes all the sense in the world. He'll have May, June, and July, basically, to kind of hang out with his kid. And I think as gentlemen, we can all be serious about this and say, we love our kids, we love our families. But after 3 fucking months of not doing anything, we might want to blow our brains out a little bit sometimes, just sometimes.
Yeah. No. Kids are awesome. Kids are awesome until they overstay their welcome after 4 hours. Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah.
I love my kids. My kid hit me. My 3-year-old.
Gotta always state that. You always have to preface. It's like the sandwich compliment of your kids. It's like, I love my kids.
You are a good kid. You bother me. I love you. That's really what it is. That's
I love you. I'll kill all the strangers in the world for you, but please stop fucking hitting me, you asshole.
Stop hitting me. Oh, dude. But when I had my vasectomy, the first thing that my son did was punch me in the balls.
Nice.
Like an hour later, and just laughed about it. And I was just like that's what he does. He thinks it's like the most hilarious thing in the world to like go up to dudes and punch them in the balls.
Love
and
that.
I mean, he's very clearly my kid because of that, but like it is, but my son is 3 and built like a fullback. And nice. So he is just like this is a big dude and he just is like, every single time he just goes, and then just like walks away. So I'm really glad that my wife gave birth to Stifler. But getting back to the thing at hand. So Philly's trajectory. Like there was a comment that came out also today that was basically like what ends up happening when teams fire their manager is that it's like a lot of those times like teams fire managers when they're like just not listening to the manager anymore, and that's what's happening. But baseball is one of those games where it's up to those players. Like players can decide what they want to do and had kind of build their way up and do those things while it is teams. So I think that this is still at least an 80-win team. I think Mattingly is going to be a lot more Larry Boa. It was Larry Boa. It was Larry Anderson who said it, but Larry Boa is like kind of that same prototype as like you never go. You don't. If you're going to have a player's coach, you got to go the opposite direction. You got to go with like a guy who's going to get in their faces and do stuff, which Mattingly is absolutely going to do, and a veteran team can handle that. So I still think that this Phillies team is going to be. I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to be. I think my 95 wins is not happening, but I think given the state of that division, I think that they're going to be fine. CJ, as a Mets fan on the outside looking in, what do you mean
a team that also should have fired their manager about 3 weeks ago?
Well, yeah, we're going to have that episode. That's going to be a good one. But what's kind of your Phillies?
Well,
take?
I mean, I think I have 2 things.
Yeah.
One that I was about to bring up a few minutes ago, which is I'm not sure if Dombrowski is still with this team come the offseason, if they do end up finishing like a 76-86 win team. Like there is a lot of pressure on Dombrowski also to bring this home. There was a lot of pressure on Dombrowski to have this big offseason that, yes, they did re-sign Schwarber. Yes, they did bring back Real Muto. Looks like they dodged a bullet.
Who's hurt, by the way.
Bichette,
who's hurt? Apparently
right?
Coming back on Saturday, but
there was still a lot of talk coming in the offseason that like they have all this money to spend. This is their window. If they win 76 to 80 games this year, like I really am not sure if he is.
They're still paying Taijuan Walker and Castellanos regardless.
Also not great.
Keep that in mind.
Great.
The negative 47 run differential. I mean, okay, that's not great. That's the worst in baseball. Like
it's April.
Yes, but I mean, their 47 run differential is almost double, like double what the second worst basically is in baseball. So
who's got the second worst?
Second worst in baseball is
Seattle?
minus 24, and that would either be the our Giants or the White Sox. Oh, sorry, the Astros are minus 25.
That absolutely sounds right. Yeah,
that
makes sense.
I guess my thing with the Phillies is this is the one reason to not be concerned. Their 10-game losing streak, including basically that stretch where they went 1-10. They played the Cubs, the Braves, Braves. They literally had two of the best teams in the National League playing their best baseball also as part of that stretch. When you go on really long losing streaks, even if you're a good team, if you're playing teams that are also playing very well and you give them back to back, it just kind of like set up a perfect storm for them. So that to me is very different than what we saw, for example, from the Mets, who had the 12-game losing streak, but like they were losing to bad teams as part of that. Phillies, that wasn't the case. I think some of the hitting numbers for them is like really alarming. The 85 WRC plus, the fact that they're still one of the lowest teams in ISO in the league. They're not really getting
they can't hit lefties, which has been their strength. They can't hit lefties at all.
Yes. However, like, man, I just have to imagine that there's some like positive regression coming for this pitching staff too. Because like, I don't think Luzardo is as bad as he's been. Sanchez has had a couple of rough starts. We know. Yeah, no, he was great yesterday. But I'm saying like he's been a little up and down compared to at least the Sanchez that we got last year. Wheeler, I thought, looked pretty good for the most part in his first start. So we'll see how that continues. And they got to figure out what's the deal with Painter, because Painter has looked like he's regressed a lot since the first couple starts that we saw him in where he looked great. He's also a young guy. So we'll see if there's some positive kind of like regression there. So I think there's still a lot to hang on. And like you said, that division is bad. Like they have a lot of room to make up games. They haven't played a lot of teams other than the Braves. They haven't played the bad teams in their division. And, I mean, if we're already into wild card territory, which is kind of crazy to say that, but they're going to have to basically pass teams like they're 3 games behind the Giants. We know that they're better than the Giants. We know they're better than the Rockies. We know they're probably better than the Diamondbacks at this point, and the Brewers are also ahead of them as well. So they've got work to do. I agree with you. I don't know if we're getting to 95 plus wins. But can they get to 86?
Yeah, Mattingly is on pace to be 134-0, though. Just keep that in mind. It would shatter every single modern day record and non-modern day record of coaching if he were to do this. Just keep that in mind. Steiner math for you right there on that one. Go, Dan.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I think the Phillies season again. It's been obvious not as close to the Red Sox, but my concern about Philly, and again, I didn't love Luzardo coming into the year. I thought you had to have some sort of regression with Sanchez. My thought coming with Philly this year was it's really going to depend on, first off, what the lineup can do, and can the lineup basically have a somewhat repeatable year what they had last year, and then really what it comes down to is the health of Zach Wheeler. What can you get out of Wheeler, and what is he going to give you, and what does Andrew Painter become? And the stuff that we saw from Painter in spring training was alarmingly scary. The fastball looked horrendously bad. And it looked like he wasn't ready, and he basically just kind of completely lost everything that he had as a top prospect. Then he came in, had a couple great starts, and it was like, okay, well, maybe it was just, an Imai fucking thing where he looked terrible and was great. And then he kind of turned back into Imai where he looks like ass again. And so the fastball is a concern. I don't know if he's healthy. And that sounds crazy because, again, obviously they've had so many injuries with him and whatever. But that's my concern with him. On the other hand, Wheeler obviously looked fucking phenomenal the other night. And short sample, small sample. But again, if Wheeler can kind of pitch his way and kind of become even 70 to 80% of what he was last year, I think Philly has a real opportunity to kind of jump back into this thing, especially if they can get a fourth, fifth starter, someone that's going to fill innings and whatever, maybe a Brian Bayo. I'm just kidding, but someone along those lines. I do think they'll be okay, and I do think they'll kind of figure it out. Again, that division is just horrendous. We all know that. Sorry, CJ.
Would you agree? Yeah, they're dead. I don't even get me started on that.
Yeah,
but
I blame Lindor, by the way. Right, just Lindor and his wife. That's all.
They also have a GM problem as well. Yeah. But right now, their live win total on FanDuel. Do you want to guess what that is, Berg? What the Philadelphia Phillies live win total is?
Ooh. On FanDuel, 86.
This listen.
Okay, Dan? I'm gonna go 84.5.
81.5 minus 105.
So they haven't projected as the Giants.
Yeah. I would lean over on that because I think that Wheeler ends up becoming, at least 70 to 80% of what he becomes. I think
Duran's about to come back, by the way.
I saw that.
I forgot they had Duran hurt too.
Yeah. I mean, again, what's his face was stepping in for them and blew 2 saves already for them. So I mean,
Keller. Yeah,
Keller. Yeah. So I mean, again, I think there's some upside there still for them. I still think that 81, and that seems a little low, especially the way that they're kind of. I feel like there's a lot of progression to the mean there still to come for that team. It does not remind me at all of the Red Sox, with the exception of Roman Anthony. I think they're kind of the opposite, honestly.
Okay, so quickly then, two other bets that I looked at as we were kind of going through this. National League East to win the division. Phillies are 8-1. This is from Caesars.
I was going to say,
is that a bet or no? Is the division too far gone in your opinion, Berg?
I'm not interested in it because I just think that this is going to. I don't think that this Braves team is fantastic, but this Braves lineup is going to hit their way out of all the problems that they have. The wall that's going to happen for this Braves team is when they have to do a 3-man rotation in the playoffs of Reynaldo Lopez, Chris Sale, and fucking Martin Perez. That's the problem. That is the problem that team is going to have. But until then, they're going to remind you a lot of the Phillies from last year, and they're going to win the division by probably 10 plus games.
Yep.
They're going to have an elite, they won tonight on Matt Olson in our home run future. Matt Olson 2-run dinger to end it. But this team this team actually struggles in the first 5 against every single starter. If you notice it, they attack bullpens. The Nats were Littell was dealing with them a couple games ago. This Braves team, they live and die by their lineup, which is elite, going off of bullpen guys towards the end. And Jay is going to listen to this and text me and be this isn't true. But,
right.
but I don't think the division. So I don't think the division is something that I would.
So we'll rule that one out. The last one then is Phillies to have the most wins in the month of May, 14-1. Does that interest you?
Let me look at the schedule.
I would say schedule dependent. Going back to the Braves, my thing, and I'll tell you why I would consider the Phillies as a bet.
Oh, I love this. I'll go back to it when you're done. Yeah, go when you're done.
If you don't believe in J.R. Ritchie and Didier Fuentes, the Braves rotation is a fucking disaster. That rotation is horrendous. If you don't believe that those two guys are going to be remotely what they've been right now, they're so that would be my concern about that division is if even one of those guys gets hurt and when Richie is not pitching up to the level or Fuentes is, and they're using him in all sorts of different ways right now, but again, they're going to have to rely on those two guys to be pivotal guys, which not unlike the Red Sox, but like still, like if you're relying on those two guys, and even one of them gets hurt, I mean, literally anything can happen. I do agree with you, Berg. The lineup is just like they're like Drake Baldwin. If he hits like fucking 40 home runs in a month again, it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, what the Phillies do. But like I wouldn't totally discount that. I might wait for it to get to like 10-1 in May.
Yeah.
You're almost hoping that like there's like a health implosion with Atlanta. And I think that's your like legitimate path, which 10-1 like is like kind of a decent number if you're banking on like Richie and Fuentes to be like your second and third starters on that fucking team, honestly.
I totally agree. I mean, the one thing though, the counterpoint is that Acuna hasn't even really started hitting yet.
True.
Which is one thing. But I will say today, right, Baldwin has. But Baldwin's not a home run guy. Like he doesn't telegraph as that. He's a doubles guy. He's basically he's like a Bregman. So looking at the schedule, they play 4-game set against the Marlins. Then they're at home against the A's and the Rockies. Then they got the Red Sox series, which I'm going to all 3 games. Then the Pirates, Reds, Guardians, Padres, and the month with the Dodgers. I think that I actually do like the schedule for this a lot. It's a lot more manageable, I think, within teams that are within their tier or below. Especially like a home back like there's a massive get right spot to begin the month of the Marlins, like this 9-game set of like, or the 10-game set of the Marlins to the A's to the Rockies. Like that could be a 7-3 homestand. What's that?
To the Red Sox.
To the Red. Well, yeah.
Blow it,
we'll
dude.
see. We'll see. Yeah, to the Red Sox. But then, but like, so there's the first half of the month could have them have like 12 wins.
I was going to say, like, you might be able to get like a very good hedge number there potentially, like going into like that Padres series before you face the Padres and the Dodgers. Like, that actually doesn't seem like a bad number, to be honest with you, given the schedule you just kind of laid out.
Who's the shortest odds?
Oh, the Dodgers. So the Dodgers are plus 350 because
just existing.
Because it exists and they're the Dodgers and they're inevitable. I mean, the only one that I thought was like kind of fun also still in this market is, by the way, the Red Sox for this, Dan, are 50-1.
That's
not
a bad. I will not be making that bet.
Pretty deal. I thought that the one other team that I'm kind of interested to see if they can I wouldn't say turn things around, but like become a little bit more of the team that we expected preseason is the Orioles, and they're 28-1. But I have not looked at to be fair, I have not looked at their schedule for May, but 28-1 was like, that was a little interesting. I do like that Phillies price given, especially the get right spot at the beginning of the month. Yeah,
I like that. I think I'm gonna take that after this. All right. This was great. This was a good therapy session for me, definitely for Dan.
Yeah.
CJ, you will get yours. We will
I don't need it. My therapy session is just completely pretending this team is
every day, like, Dan. Every day I get a text from CJ that is like, because I'm not a Mets hater. Like the OMG Mets was a lot of fun.
How could you be a Mets hater, Berg? You must love them.
I don't, but every day CJ has like a new like lower level of like it's always like which team is not fucked, and then the punchline is always, oh, but the Mets are fucked, and I'm like I don't know, man, and I'm trying to be like both a good friend and also just what I think, because like Juan Soto I think is still one of the best players in the league, and I'm like, this team can't be that bad, and he's just like, no, Mets actually are dead, like they're very dead, like every day they're more dead.
No, CJ, I'll be the guy. Don't worry. Let me tell you, the Mets are more fucked than the Red Sox, and I want a bridge jump. So yeah, I
agree. Dan, the Mets are going to finish with a worse record than the Rockies. You heard it here. This is not a hot take. It is they are going to finish with a worse record than the Rockies right now. If I could bet it, I would take it.
Just because I would find it really, really funny. Not to personally attack you, but just because how many friends of mine are Mets fans and like how funny that would be. And just also and I know this sounds crazy, but just to get the content out of like the Barstool guys, because I want to see them all just go absolutely insane. And
like Frank and all that. Yeah, losing it.
And KFC. Yeah. I would like to see that. So I'm actually going to now root for that. Instead of the Red Sox winning, instead of rooting for the Red, I might just root for the Mets to lose. I think that might be a more fun way to be a fan now, CJ. Honestly, just, hey, how
I hate watching them. I literally hate watching them every morning. I'm watching clips of Mets fans just screaming at the television on Instagram every morning, and I'm getting pleasure out of this. That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah,
it's not good for baseball when there's nobody in the NL East is good. All right. With that said, Dan, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
Yeah, you can find me at Dan Lifshatz on Twitter. You can also find us at Boston Handicap Network on Twitter. We have not done any episodes where I took the old moving break, so we are not doing anything. But we are going to be looking at some conference previews in the next couple weeks for college football. And I mean, dude, it's already almost May. Like May is coming in fucking this week. Like I can't believe it's May. I paid my rent here. I was like, whoa, it's May. I have to pay. So I sold my house. So thank God that's over. But like, yeah, dude, like it's crazy. May's already here. But yes, college football previews are coming in a couple months. We used to do like every single conference. Gonna try and get the guys to like do every single conference, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. But we'll definitely do obviously the big ones: SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and yeah, we'll start getting ready for some football stuff because, man, there's just so much to talk about that isn't Mike Vrabel and freaking Diana Rossini.
Just wait. There's more shoes. There's more like. Look, there might be another spot. It might be a Friendster account. Like someone's gonna find a Snapchat that like the most frequent friend points was Mike Vrabel.
I just need to say one thing about this because I just need a therapy. I need therapy. We talked about the Red Sox therapy. I don't give a fuck that Mike Vrabel is banging Diana Rossini. Why does that? I don't.
It's not. I don't care either. Like actually, it's funny. My wife said because like my mother-in-law is like big Mike Vrabel fan, and I said, "Oh, what's your mom think about this?" And my wife gave like the coolest answer ever. She says, "Oh, whatever, it happens." LOL. And I was like, "Okay,
it does?
Okay, does it?" But great. And I was like, I went on a bachelor party, and I was like, "What does this mean?" But yeah, I think the funniest, the big takeaway I have from that is why are two people that are frequently on television doing their thing in a New York bar? Like that was just like, to me, that's just like
there's a story out there, like it's been like corroborated out there by like a lot of people. Like Rossini was banging Sean McVay and literally
I heard that
was like literally fighting like Britt McHenry like in a parking lot over
in DC.
Yeah, because she was banging him too. Like she's banging multiple head coaches. It's not
I imagine.
Like, dude, like that's my thing is like, yeah, they caught the Vrabel stuff. There's a whole story about her blowing dudes in the Redskins front office.
The OnlyFans is dropping. I can't wait for it. It's going to be great.
You think Vrabel's the only dude? There's
no way.
So many other. And I'm gonna be like, people. I'm sure I'm gonna get accused of sexist. She's not the only one who does this. Like
that's not sexist. That's just like that's like
it
matters about
Michelle Beadle's comments on this. Michelle Beadle apparently is going to have a book that will be burning a lot of others that are on this. So
there you
go look that up if you haven't.
All
right. Yeah.
By the way, Michelle Beadle was my professor at University of Hartford. And she was.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she was super cool. Loved her. But like, as someone who may have like gone out drinking with Michelle Beadle, like I don't think she should be doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and like, I don't know. Like, here's my thing. There's a lot of women in the space who do it. Okay. Like, but it's generally accepted. I mean, no one gives shit to Jenny Dell for banging Will Middlebrooks and marrying him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no one, that's a fucking player. No one gives a shit about that. But we care about Mike Vrabel. Why? Because he like did some like bullshit Christianity bullshit about like to Travion Henry. I don't know. To me, I just don't give two. I mean, this is what you expect. If you're an athlete or you're a coach in sports, and you marry one of them, expect to get cheated on.
I watched Ballers. This is facts.
Bill Belichick playing the 20-year-old. Like, what are you?
That's completely true. Yeah, there you go. I mean, like Tom Brady's marriage blew up because of a judo instructor, right?
Yeah,
so jiu-jitsu. All right. So look, this went off the rails at right time. For Dan, thanks again for coming. CJ is at Dad's That Bet. Spencer produces the fuck out of everything, and he's awesome. I'm at Hey Rosenberg. This has been Dad's of Baseball. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Hall of Fame Bets. Please use your Dads and check out Handygraphs when you get a second. And with all of those things said, CJ, what's the final word?
Diana Rossini. I don't know.
Who blows